Hi everyone at Fantasy Filmfest. Welcome to this year's edition. It is my pleasure now to introduce the director and writer of the movie, Piggy. Carlota, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Very happy to be here.
Yes, very happy to have you. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. First of all, I have to tell you, when I watched your movie, the first thing I thought was like, this is a pure original. As an artist, how do you make sure, or how did you make sure in your career so far to, truly develop your own personal signature?
Well, it's been a question. Thank you, first of all, thank you. But it's been a question of time. I think you have to make mistakes to find your voice. So I made a first short, which is called The Blondes, that I thought it was. I tried to be as original as possible, but I think what makes you original is try to forget the rules. Try to forget, like, this is the first act, the second act, the third act. And I just try to be as sincere with the characters and truthful to their journey as possible. And also to think of myself as the only audience.
Right, right.
If I have fun, it's going to be fun for me. Sometimes some ideas will come while shooting the movie.
Yeah.
That I will change the whole scene just because I thought this is going to be, first of all, is this going to be an idea I have that I just like it right now because I'm shooting this, or is it something I'm going to enjoy when I watch it again? So I will change some scenes in the moment just because I found something that was that really made the scene different in some sense, or more exciting for me.
And do you ever cut out scenes and then later on you wonder if it really was the right decision to cut them out?
I think maybe one of the few directors that the director's cut is always shorter than the final cut.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes I think, oh, maybe I should put this back because maybe it's better to understand the story. But for me, it's always more, less is more always.
What is a compromise you would have been not willing to do when it comes down to Piggy?
Well, there's so many of them because you hear a lot of voices along the way. First of all, they wanted it to be more focus on the relationship with the unknown man. Mm-hmm. More about that relationship. They wanted it to be more in some way a bit sexier, and other people wanted it to be more like a traditional thriller. Other people really wanted to be like clean cut morally, like, oh, we need to understand what she's thinking, or we need to understand. They even asked for a voiceover. So those were some of the things that I said no. No, sorry.
So very early on in the movie, of course, we see Sarah, who is obviously not happy with her life, and she even watches the Instagram accounts of, the people who bully her, and of course, she seems to have interest in Pedro in a way. And I was wondering if that is like something you can relate to, that like wanting to live a life that isn't yours.
Of course, when you are a teenager, you always think that you're not having the life you want.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a small town or in a city that doesn't really, is not in tune with your feelings or the way you are. So yeah, I think all teenagers, I think that's something universal, that all teenagers think they are not in the right place ever.
And so where do you see people like Pedro? Because unfortunately there are a lot of people who just watch without feeling, the responsibility to actually do something, maybe because they are afraid that they end up becoming the outsiders themselves or whatever.
Well, I think that happens to everyone. We're all guilty in a sense. We're all guilty of omission, We see stuff in the news all the time, then we see that something's wrong and we do nothing. We just go on with our lives. So, I just wanted to have this thing, this. Basically, the whole story evolves of what will Sarah do? But it's basically the same question that could be asked for any of the characters,
Right. Right. Exactly.
They didn't do anything. So
before you found Laura, you tried to find someone in high school. So you tried to go for a non-professional artist, right? And I was wondering, because in the end, you've decided to go without any of them. So I was wondering, what was it you were exactly looking for that you felt like they were not having?
Well, there are many things. First of all, I did look for a lot of non-professionals. I went to every high school, every theater school. I even addressed people in the streets that they thought that I was crazy.
Wow, wow.
Yeah. So, but when I saw Laura was just, she was working as a theater assistant, and she had little roles in plays. And when I saw her, she had such a great. She's such a good actress that she has perfect control of her body. And I really like people that act with their body, just not only with their eyes or their face. The way people sit down or the way people walk says a lot about who you are. I just wanted to go the whole way. And for that, I needed someone that was more mature and that knew why we were doing this and how, and she was willing to go the whole way, you know. So for me, it was important that people really were able to empathize with her.
Right. And would you say that, you know, teenage girls would be eventually feel a little bit too uncomfortable with themselves and with their bodies, and that they would like not being able to pull it off on screen?
Yeah, that's why when I did find some people that were really good, but most of them were they didn't have a healthy relationship with their bodies and their body image.
Right. Yeah.
So for them, it would have been a bit really traumatic, the whole experience of seeing themselves on screen and also shooting. And I didn't want to have to torture someone just to make my movie.
And I was wondering, you as an artist, were you someone who developed, you know, self-worth early on, or how did you develop it with time in terms of your, you know, being an artist, director?
Well, did not develop until very later on. First of all, everybody told me that I couldn't do this, and also I'm a gay woman.
Yeah, all right,
so
yeah.
I was in the closet for a long time, and I thought that my whole sense of self was not right. That's what my environment said, you know.
Right.
You just had to really struggle against that, and once you do that, you just say fuck off to everyone. So for me, it came after coming out. After coming out, and you get some reactions from your outside world. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But you said, you know, I'm not gonna give a fuck about what you think from now on.
Because it felt like that Sarah, she never used a lot of words when she's talking to her mother, because I felt like she's afraid, because no matter what words she's going to use, her mother will find a way to put her own words against her. In a way,
I think I've seen a lot of relationships that are like that with the parents, especially from a certain generation. You know, when taking care of a kid is being hard of them, basically, or just to feed them, and so they eat. And also there's people that are so they have so many much problems with job and with everything, and they have to be in charge of everything, and they're doing that all their own. That basically, when you're carrying the weight of your whole house and the whole family industry or whatever on your shoulders, there's little patience. And I wanted to show this woman who is overwhelmed by her life. And she's basically seeing that her daughter is going to have a shitty life just like she has. And her way of making her react is just being impatient with her. Because she's too tired, you know. Yeah.
I was like, you know, the sentence had so much meaning to me, you know, when the mother said, you're all driving me crazy. And, you know, not knowing or not realizing that it's actually her daughter who's been driven crazy by the circumstances at home.
Yeah. And also most people don't realize that the kids are being bullied until it's too late. It's like something that happens.
That is the thing, yes, because that is the thing, because so many people are unable to read from faces. You know, when the kid gets home and you ask, how was school? All great. They'll go to the room, and that's the end of the story. You know, they don't really have a conversation about it, and they don't. If you usually you would say, if you're a mother or if you're a father, you would actually feel it, but not everybody does, in a way.
No, and also you don't. Kids, me as a kid, I was very good at hiding. I didn't want to be a problem. So for me, it's something that is terrifying, for both as a teenager and both as a mother. Because it's terrifying not knowing what's going on with your kid. It's terrifying not knowing that you could do something to help them and you're not doing it because you're lacking information. I think both things are terrifying.
Absolutely. I mean, they're in school all day long. You don't know what exactly they do, what they are up to, and even, I mean, many times even parents of the actual bully doesn't
Yeah.
know that they have the kid that actually hurts others, and that is
Yeah.
also like something that they don't really like to realize. And oh my God, I'm the mother of the kid that hurts the
Yeah.
others.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. Most kids that they don't know. I mean, it's like most parents don't even know that they're doing that. And when they address mostly on, I'm like, no, he didn't do that. Or, you know, I'm sure he
Yes, they're
didn't move it
trying.
away.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to deny it because they don't want to believe it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I was wondering because you said that you were asked the question what it is you want people to take away from the movie when they see it, and I believe you said that you want, no matter if they think it's good or bad, you want that they ask themselves questions after seeing the movie, that they actually think about it, question themselves. And I was wondering because I feel like that chances of actual victims or actual bullies watching your movie is pretty high, and I think that teenagers will watch it. I mean, I'm sure you can relate. You know, as a teenager, you want to watch movies you are not supposed to watch,
Yeah.
and but again, maybe some victims of bullies will see it or bullies themselves. And I was wondering, what do you hope that what kind of questions victims ask themselves after the movie, and what kind of questions do you wish that actual bullies ask themselves after the movie?
Actually, this is a question I don't want to answer because if for me it would be like making a statement, like saying this is a movie, it's about this. For me, I just want them.
Yeah.
There's so many questions that people are already asking because people are writing to me already online. Even in Instagram and stuff like that, sometimes people write to you. And people are making a lot of questions. And some people's reactions to the movies is more about themselves than about the movie itself. And it's very interesting. But for me, it's always more interesting how you react to a movie and what makes you feel and why, and that you think yourself, why does it make me feel this way? And the rest of the questions is up to you to decide which ones are the ones you should be asking yourself.
No, that's good because I understand the point because you're basically if you say something that's the way, then it's like telling people that's the way you have to feel, but it's like more interesting and fascinating to hear every single point of view of the people that actually saw it, what exactly it brought up when they saw it, right?
And especially some people, you watch a movie 1 year and 10 years later you see it and it's a different movie. So, if the director says, no, this movie is about this, then it's about that. and I see sometimes it relates to what you were saying before about people that people are being canceled or that when I see interviews of directors, most of the time they're just making excuses for themselves for the movie. It's like, no. It's like this movie is about this and this and this, and my point of view is this, and my moral point of view is this one.
Yeah.
So there's no confusion at all, and you watch the movie and you already feel safe because the director wanted to. Maybe some people will watch this movie and think I'm a horrible person. But I can live with that. I can live with that. It's okay.
Right. I mean, in the end, it's obvious that even the best movie in the world, no matter, that doesn't really exist because of course it's up to you what you like and what you don't like. But even the best movie in the world is unable to please everyone. And I feel like that should also not be the mission of a movie, to please everyone. I actually like it when a movie divides opinions, because I feel like, let's pretend you watch a movie and everybody says, that was great, yeah, that was great, that was great. That's the end of the story. There's no conversation after that.
Yeah.
But if somebody says, well, I liked this and this, and someone else says, well, but I think this was not that good because of that, there's a conversation happening then. And then you can argument and you can have like a conversation, and that keeps the movie and the story alive in a way.
So when you feel very passionate about a movie, there's going to be people who feel very passionate against it. And for me, that's more interesting than it's something that is bland and it pleases everyone, and it could be a good movie, but it's not as interesting for me. I'd rather it be flawed and being more interesting. I don't know. It's a way
Absolutely.
for me. It's a way of being more sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned that if you watch the movie 10 years later, you might have like a different opinion about it, or you might understand some things even better. I was wondering because, this is something that I had realized, sometimes you remember a movie that you've seen as a child and you go like, oh, I really need to rewatch this because I watched this like 50 times when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then you rewatch it and you realize that your memories of it were much better than this fresh viewing. And you're like, no, I wish I would just have kept my memories without actually watching it again. And I was wondering if that ever happened to you.
Well, I think it has, but I cannot remember. Well, maybe some movies I've seen with my kid now.
Yeah.
Yes, it happens with some movies, but I think that's exactly what happened with some fandom, that they want to watch the new episode of a saga, and they just don't want to see a new movie. They just want to feel like the way they feel when they were kids, and that's why they get so angry about them. But it's just a different movie. There's no way you're gonna, you cannot go home. That's gone.
Yeah, right. And you know what's the funny thing? If you watch the movie with your child and you're so disappointed because you don't like it as much as you did as a kid, but then you see your kid next to you celebrating it. That's because the kid feels like you felt back then, probably.
Yeah, and sometimes it happens just the other way around. I say, but it's good. Don't you realize it's very good?
And your kid is falling asleep, right?
No, I don't like it. Can you take it?
Yeah, right. And then you realize, maybe it was too early to watch that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that happened with E.T. She didn't like it. I was like,
oh, really?
Yeah,
she didn't like it?
Yeah, I'm going to try this again in 10 years. But she did.
Wow, yeah.
But she loved the Jurassic Park. She loved that. But she
at least one Spielberg movie. No, but that's so funny because you would actually think that, hey, kids are surely going to enjoy it because there's like this alien creature that is so funny and everything. And you go like, I'm sure my kid is going to enjoy that, right? And then you're like, no.
Yeah, she found it too scary. And say that, Jurassic Park is more scary than now. She felt that the other one was way scarier.
So to come back to Piggy, you did not only direct the movie but also write it, and I was wondering because a lot of screenwriters are not so pleased when they see what happened with their script, of course, because obviously the director is going to change it, the producer is going to change it, everyone is going to change it, and then maybe at the end they watch a movie on screen that has only a few scenes in it that were originally written. And so, which sometimes can be sad because people watch a movie and then there's the writer listed and they say, that was trash. Why did they hire this writer again? It's because people don't know that the original script looked so different. But I was wondering, in your case, would you say to make sure that your vision gets, made exactly as you want, then you really have to fight for directing it yourself?
Well, it was a question of I wanted to find my own voice, and to find my own voice, I needed to tell my own stories. I worked directing other people's stories sometimes, but you try to make a commitment to. It's also their story, It's not you cannot, even if you give in carte blanche. It's their story, and that's why you got attached to it. So you want to respect that, you know. But, there's nothing, if you're working a set, there's one thing that what you write and the other thing what you actually comes to life. But for me, it's very important that when I write the script that in the scene, you can see the movie. I try to imagine how I'm going to do the blocking and everything, and I write it that way. So when the producers get involved, they know what they're going to get. There's not going to be surprises after that. And say, oh, it's not this is not the movie we paid for. No, they know what they're going to get because it's on the paper. But sometimes writers, it's true that writers just write in a very neutral way. So there could be very different takes on that.
Right.
You know, but if I try to write the way I want it to be done. So in the case that I die in the middle of production,
Yeah.
you know, my first idea has to take commands, you know, so how I want it is, no, and the way it has to go. But I don't know, I think, you know, it's the beautiful thing about filmmaking is that it's a teamwork.
Yes,
And
exactly.
so
Yeah, yeah.
it's not just the author. I mean, it's not
Mm-hmm.
just the director or the writer. It's the writer, the director, the actors, the camera, the sound design. Everything is involved. And
Yeah.
for that to play well, it has to be well commanded, and it has to it has to be also have a really good script to fall upon. And sometimes the scripts are good and are being trusted by the good bad directors, and sometimes they're really bad scripts that are not
No.
that get
Yeah.
made and get saved by an okay director, or no, or don't get saved by a director.
And the
You know,
original writer goes,
and sometimes the scripts are, you know, bad. There's nothing happens, but the movie just doesn't work because this whole team didn't came together and didn't create something unique.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's not, you cannot explain. That just happens. There's so many things so many movies that you see that it's a good script, it's a good actor, it's a good director,
yeah,
but the movie doesn't work.
yeah. And sometimes I feel like what a lot of writers don't always know is that sometimes dialogue is when you read the dialogue in your own script, you go like, that's a great dialogue. But then during a table read, the filmmakers and the actors might go like, this dialogue doesn't work when you speak it out. It's like it works on
Yeah.
paper, but it doesn't work when you actually say it.
I've been in both sides of the story. I mean, I've been a bit screenwriter and I've been a director
Uh-huh.
writing with, and I've seen if a script is good, sometimes you may change some things, but sometimes you have to change it because it doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't make any sense because it doesn't go with the objective of the story or with the director or with the objective of the character. But sometimes, you know, there's some people that just they are so used to working with not so good screenplays that they don't recognize a good screenplay when they read it. And sometimes actors want to change it just just for the sake of changing, you know, because no, it has to be a bit more alive. And sometimes you see a take and say no, but it has to go the way it's been written because it's better, because it was better.
Yeah.
You know, so it could be worked both ways. And the thing is that you have to have your ear open, not change it just because the actors want to change it, and also change it
Exactly.
if it really needs to be changed, you know. But you know, you make so many decisions in the course of a film that the chance of you fucking it up is immense. So you have to relax and just, you know, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, Carlota, seriously, thank you so much for your time today. Seriously, it was such a pleasure talking to you. Your
Thank
responses were
you.
so insightful, seriously. And of course, you have all the best wishes for Piggy and everything that comes beyond. Are you already working on something new?
Yeah, I'm actually currently in pre-production on my next feature.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Yeah. Well, all the best for that one as well then.
Thank you. Thank you so much.